With the pandemic that came upon us, the rise of video conferencing tools like Microsoft Teams and Zoom has led to more aspects of the sales conversation to occur virtually. And what began as a crisis reaction has evolved into the new normal. But how normal is the new normal? We're talking about how the strong shift from in-person to virtual selling has transformed B2B sales experience. Virtual sales enablement, new organizations, KPIs, everything is evolving. In the Virtual Selling Podcast, we address these issues in depth twice a week with the experts and leaders of these transformations, heads of sales, sales ops, and sales enablement of the most innovative companies in the field. This podcast is sponsored by SalesDeck.io, the new SaaS platform to make your customer meetings more engaging and better prepared. Find out how you can shorten sales cycles, convert more leads, and increase customer engagement. Virtual selling is here to stay, and so is SalesDeck.io.
Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be with Gilles Bertaux, the founder and CEO of Livestorm.io. It is the first time in the virtual selling podcast that I'm interviewing a French guy in English. So we will be two French guys talking English with our French accents. And I hope that Gilles has a better English accent than I have. Gilles has founded in 2015 Livestorm, in a crowded market, which is the market of video conference and webinars where Zoom were already there, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, and other actors that already were present. And he developed his company during the pandemic and being today one of the most innovative actors of the webinars and video conference. Hi, Gilles. I'm very happy to be with you today.
Hi, thank you for having me. I hope people tolerate our accents, but
yeah. So what makes you different from the other platform today?
Yeah, so my take is that most of the platforms, in the world, like our main competitors, like the big one, like Zoom, Teams, and whatnot, all those guys, they mostly focus on providing a video experience, like a communication experience, where we, on the other hand, trying to provide an experience that is actually tailored for the job of the person hosting the video, which is a very different nuance, actually. When you use video conferencing for selling as a sales or as a marketer, you expect to have target, you have objective, you want to sell, and then you need, as a result, you will need some tools to achieve that. So at the end of the day, what we want to provide is not only video, but the tools that will enable you to sell more efficiently. So on the webinar context, like we do, it's pretty much maximizing the engagement, because the more engagement you get, the more the richer the content and the more results, the more conversions you usually drive. And for the virtual selling kind of product demo kind of meeting, then it's more about creating this cockpit of having sales tools such as, templates, SalesDeck, whatever is relevant to make sure you close this demo, right? And give a great demo. So it's a whole different paradigm. It's just we focus on the overall user experience and not just the video itself. And that has been bread and butter from the day one.
Okay, so we will dig into this virtual selling cockpit for virtual sellers and for virtual sales team. How do you envision this cockpit in 5 years? What a salesperson will be able to do within Livestorm to be a better salesperson?
You mean as a tool? So what do we do to help them? Yeah. So essentially what we're trying to do, so there is two contexts, right? Because we do webinars and we do meetings, and basically in the webinar context, what we're trying to do is provide basically engagement features, what we call engagement features. So not just going beyond webcam and screen sharing and going, it's a one way, usually webinar is a one way presentation. We want to make that two ways, have a lot of people responding either through chat, questions, polls, but also interacting with the content that you provide. So basically, if you're going to, share a Miro board, you can invite people to actually interact with the board, with the whiteboard and everything. So provide something that is very, very much interactive, so that at the end of the day, your webinar is a success. You get a ton of engagement, and all that engagement translates into more this kind of I know, collective enthusiasm that, makes the product look good, like the brand looks good, the sales look good. So at the end of the day, you help conversion by doing that. So webinar context is all about like maximizing the engagement. On the virtual selling kind of product demo use case, if you talk about sales, then we want to provide the tooling belt, like the toolbox, like all the stuff, the cockpit that you want to have in order to sell more and sell more efficiently. So that translates with analytics, obviously, to know how much a person stayed, if that person was, I don't know, engaged with whatever you shared, or that sort of thing. Um, the second piece is obviously connectors. As a sales, you use a bunch of, CRM or whatever. So we want to connect very deeply with those tools. And the last bit is providing stuff during the live to help you present. So typically, integrating with Google Slides for starter, if that's something you want to share to your customer. Could be, I know, at some point we want to integrate with SalesLoft, with SalesDeck, with all those tools to have like really build this kind of, you have a timeline on the side, you'll see all the content that you want to share. So really creating this cockpit. And that's the virtual selling product demo is still an early subject that we started this year. And we have tons of things that we want to still ship for that specific use case. But basically the goal is that providing a tool bed. The goal is not engagement, it's about making the sales more efficient during the demo, which is a bit different.
Yes, our goal is common because the goal of SalesDeck is really providing a tool to have more engagement, but also a tool to go to achieve sales excellence and to
Absolutely.
be sure that the best practice are adopted by both low performer, top performers, that they all share a common structures of doing their customer meeting, being better prepped, more engaging, and better documented. So we really have this same and this common goal, and working on different tools. You are working on video, and we are more working on the playbook and the content to be shared during meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly that.
And that's interesting. How two different companies are addressing the same goal and can try to work together to build this this common view of the cockpit where everything will be integrated for the seller, but for the buyer too, because the buyer should be part of the experience.
Absolutely. As I said, it's a two-way thing. If a conversation, whatever that is, it's a webinar meeting, whatever, and whatever context, if it is a one-way thing, basically it's just you hearing yourself pitching something, but every conversation is someone responding. So it has to be two-way things. And having the capacity to interact as a buyer, as a participant with the content that you actually present it makes things so much more efficient from a sales perspective.
Sure. And when you dig into all the sales methodologies, the idea is really not to pitch, but really to dig, to discover, to understand the pain of your customer, and to help him discover the right solution. And hopefully the right solution is yours. and
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that SalesDeck is very interesting is, they provide this kind of structure, mental thing, where actually if as a buyer, I don't really know how to express a need or express something that is happening in my company that is actually a need that you will be interested in, you provide this kind of structure like cards and, almost, as a form, right? And people can just check and say, okay, this and more into that kind of answer. And that, gives a hint as a sales on what a person needs and what a person is all about. So providing some kind of mental framework for the buyer using SalesDeck or using whatever, trick you have to make them interact with you is definitely beneficial for the sales pitch.
Yeah, and what is true is with in-person meeting, we have more physical interaction, more emotions that go through. With video, we have less emotion. We have a small part of the screen where you can see the other, but you have other way to create interaction, which is, as you said, polls, all kind chats, emojis, and you have to use them to multiply the different channel to communicate with your buyers and to have opportunities to interact.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks a lot. Is there a way that people could contact you and contact Livestorm?
Sure, absolutely. You can go to Livestorm websites at livestorm.co, and you can reach out. We have this chat. You can, ask for a demo at Octago Sales if you're interested, or just create a free account. Actually, it's a whole free trial thing. You can just test it out, no strings attached, nothing. And you just, if you want to move forward, just move forward. You can put your credit card in. And as for me, if you want to reach out, I'm on Twitter. So, actually, that's going to be a hard one to spell, but Gilles Bertaux, essentially, maybe you can leave that in the description of the podcast, but you can find me pretty easily on Twitter. Just type Gilles, Twitter, Livestorm, you'll find me right away.
Okay, thanks a lot, Gilles. This episode of the Virtual Selling Podcast is over. Thanks for sticking around. Join us twice a week for a new episode with new stories and challenge of giants in the field. If you enjoyed today's episode, we are always listening for your feedback. Share the show and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any episodes. This episode was brought to you by SalesDeck.io, the virtual selling platform that increases your sales team efficiency and sales readiness, enable remote management, and advance sales operational excellence. Book your SalesDeck.io demo today to discover how you can close more deals with engaging and better prep customer meetings. Thanks a lot, Gilles. Thank you.
Thank you.